Hey everyone, I came across this clip from Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about the Jewish contribution to science, in particular in the realm of the Nobel Prizes. And so I want to take a look at this clip and then just talk about it for a moment after it. Take a look together.
Of that universe. And that absence of Muslim presence in the frontier of science persists to this day. Take a look at the Nobel Prize from 1900 to 2010. I can do this for the Jews, for example. How many Jews in the world? There's like 15 million tops, 15 million out of 7 billion people. These are the numbers of Jews who have won the Nobel Prize in the sciences. 25% of the Nobel Prizes. We have a Jewish person in the audience. Congratulations. Okay, fine. Okay. This is rightly something to be extraordinarily proud of. The traditions of Jews in the 20th century is one of education and scholarship. In earlier centuries, it was one of very strict sort of study of the Torah. Did not involve the natural world. This was a later emergence of the Jewish culture to exhibit this. Let's look at the numbers for Islam. So these are Jews. There are 15 million Jews, 25% of the Nobel Prizes. There's 1.3 billion Muslims in the world. These are the numbers. 2.5. Okay, I'll give you 3 if you really want to include economics as a full number there, okay? If you got to give it a full number, okay. Now, for me, by the way, you can analyze this in any number of ways. There are 50 times the number of Nobel Prizes, 1/80th the population. There's 4,000 times the impact. I lose sleep at night with the question, how many secrets of the universe lay undiscovered because 1.3 billion people who in an ancestral time would have participated in this enterprise and are now not. That's what I think of as a scientist. Whole populations. By the way, there are other populations that never contributed. I'm not going to them and blaming them. I'm talking about a population that already did contribute. It's in the cultural heritage already. All we're asking is to resurrect it. It has not happened.
There's one area in that little diatribe that needs a little bit of addressing, and that is where he said that the Jewish people only in the later days, only in the 20th century, only in the post-enlightened world became people that were engaged in the sciences. And before then, they were involved in Torah and completely removed from science. Well, that is unquestionably false. Some of the greatest sages in our tradition were engaged professionally even in the sciences. So the Rambam and the Ramban both were physicians. Those are in medieval times some of the greatest medieval scholars and sages of our tradition. You had the Sepharno, who was an architect. You have there are several Rishonim. There are several medieval sages. The Ibn Ezra, for example. You have the Ralbag, the Rabbi Levi ben Gershon. You have Rabbi Avram Zakuto that participated so much, that contributed so much to the secular understanding of astronomy, because they were astronomers, that they have there are 3 craters on the moon that are named after them. So in the later days also, the Vilna Gaon, the Rabbi Eliyahu, the Gaon of Vilna, said that if a person is lacking in scientific understanding, they're lacking in their understanding of the Torah. So I'm not quite sure where Neil deGrasse Tyson gets this whole idea that until only recent times there was only Torah study, and no really contributions to the scientific world. That's something that's been important to the Jewish world since the very beginning, as indicated by all of our sages, the main sages being heavily steeped in scientific knowledge. I think it's part of the idea that some in the scientific community like to make a separation between that there's either choosing science or religion. If you choose a very religious life, and if it was a life dedicated to Torah study, then it couldn't have been had any sort of real contribution to science. If you choose science, you have to, by default, as well, not choose religion. That they're two separate, completely separate entities. Religion and science may be two completely different ways of thought, of looking, of investigation of the world around, but still the way in which we examine something can certainly overlap. You don't have to choose either science or religion. Science takes things apart to see how they work, whereas religion puts things together to see what they mean. So it's just one area that I felt it necessary to bring a little critique to Neil deGrasse Tyson's assessment of the Jews as the Nobel Prize winners. If you enjoy this content, by the way, I invite you to hit that subscribe button over there in the corner, and I would love to stay in touch with everybody. Have a great day.